The 2025 Ford Explorer finally got an upgrade. There's a more aggressive front end, but the big changes come on the inside of the vehicle. Ford upgraded it not to Sync 4, but to the next generation Ford operating system that's based off of Android. This is the 2025 Explorer ST. And in this video, I'm going to show you the highlights of the 2025 model and help you figure out if it's worth the buy. Pricing for the 2025 Explorer in Canada starts at $52,800 versus $41,300 down in the States. And then it's going to go up depending on how you have it configured. There are 4 primary trim levels in the Explorer this year, and this is the ST model. So as configured, I think it's in the $72,000 ballpark. But when you look at the big difference between the Canada versus US model, rear-wheel drive is standard in the US versus the intelligent all-wheel drive system in Canada, with that option being available as an upgrade in the US instead. This paint is the carbonized gray metallic, and just the way that the sun's hitting it here, it looks really good. As I mentioned, the US is going to have rear-wheel drive standard with the option of upgrading to that intelligent four-wheel drive system instead, versus in Canada, we've got the four-wheel drive system standard. As always, there are a series of different wheel styles available inside of the Explorer. 18-inch minimum in the active trim, and then it moves into 21-inch wheels inside of the ST. I gotta say, I'm typically a fan of black wheels, and having these hydro dip black would look sharp, but the matte paint that's on these actually is pretty good. The front end of the 2025 Explorer did get an upgrade. You can see it in the grille. Its taller profile looks a little bit more aggressive, and blacked out with that red ST badge, it looks really sharp. There's a lot of technology that you're going to find inside of the 2025 Explorer. So things like the forward sensing system would be there, along with the front-facing camera. But it seems to be a lot of Ford vehicles are now losing active park assist, and that seems to be the case for the 2025 model. So if you are wanting an Explorer with park assist, you're going to have to find a used model. So something like the King Ranch, the Platinum, or the ST from previous years. Underneath the hood of the 2025 Explorer, 2 different engine choices that are available. So the base engine in the vehicle is a 2.3-liter turbocharged engine, which is pretty good power-wise. And then there's this, the 3-liter turbocharged V6 instead. Power-wise, pushes out an impressive 400 horsepower, 415 pound-feet of torque. So if power is your thing, the 3-liter that you'll find in the ST or optional in the Platinum, definitely the way to go. But the 2.3-liter, still a pretty good engine. It's just that I prefer the 3-liter instead. There's a little strut brace under there, and then you can easily top up your wiper fluid if you need to, change oil. You just want to make sure you take care of your ride to maintain the manufacturer's warranty, which in the Ford world is pretty solid. Your basic is a 3-year, 36,000 mile, 60,000 kilometer. Powertrain is a 5-year, 60,000 mile, 100,000 kilometer. And then we don't have to worry about hybrid EV components because there's no longer hybrid available for the Explorer. But just take care of your car, it'll take care of you. The rear end styling of the Explorer looks great as always. There's some standard tech as well you're going to find, regardless of the trim level of the vehicle that you're in. So you're always going to have the backup sensing system, along with the rear camera and that rear wiper. Explorer ST, you are looking at quad tip exhaust, and then this one also has the available tow package. One small difference between last year and then the 2025 model. So you do have the 4 and the 7-pin wiring provisions, those are there. But the max towing capacity, it doesn't matter if you're in the 2.3-liter turbo or this 3-liter instead, you're maxing out at 5,000 pounds. Would have been nice to see because last year it was up to 5,600 pounds, so whatever Ford's done, it's only rated for up to 5,000 pounds this year. That's still a pretty solid amount, and then you could always bump up to the Expedition or look at one of the Ford trucks instead if you need a little bit of extra pulling power. Getting into the trunk of the Explorer, as always, can be done a few different ways. So there's a button to the left-hand side of the steering wheel. You can utilize the key fob to do it. And then just underneath the second R in Explorer, there's a button that you can push in order to raise it up instead. Love the power. Now, Looking in the back here, unchanged from the 2024 to the 2025 model. So this is just the regular carpeted liner you're going to find, fully removable tray. And then there's another little tray that you can lift up in order to show off the mini spare tire, which has definitely been reworked year over year. It's a mini spare, which is useful. And then there's the white spigot that's tucked in just behind the wheel there a little bit off to the left. There are also these handy little things that you can pull out for a little bit of storage along both sides. Now, one of the nice things about being a Ford owner is roadside assistance. So the Explorer does have the wheel. It's got the jack stand there as well. So if you wanted to change the tire yourself, you absolutely could. But one of the big benefits of being a Ford owner is roadside assistance. So you can call an 800 number and a tow can show up. They can help you change the tire. There's fuel delivery, lockout, winching services, and a boatload of other useful features. That's good for 5 years, 60,000 kilometers, 100,000 miles. So if something happens, you've locked yourself out, whatever the case may be, you can call an 800 number in order for them to come and help you. Folding on the third row seats inside of the Explorer is going to be manual or power. If it's power down and up. There's no manual option. The ST that I'm looking at here, so it's got little tabs that you can lift up, or straps. That strictly folds down the headrest for the third row seats. So in order to actually fold down the third row, it's along the right side. There's a 12-volt power point there. There's a little light, and then there are a few buttons. So you can fold down the left or the right side independently, or button push in order to fold them both down together. Folding down the second row seats, though, can only be done from the second row. So you've got to hop inside, and there's a tab along the bottom of the seat that you're going to pull, so a lever you're going to lift, and that folds the seat down for an incredibly flat fold. I love it. And the measurements that you're looking at, specifically for behind the first row, are going from right where the liftgate would close to just in behind that armrest between the first row seats. So if the seats were forwards, backwards a little bit for the first row, you might gain or lose a little bit of extra space. The second row seats can also be slid forwards or backwards, so you might gain or lose a little bit of extra space there as well, depending on how far forward or backwards those seats are. And then lifting up the seats, straight forward, so the second row, you've got to manually do it. And then the third row seats is a button press. So same idea, you can fold up the left or the right side independently, or button press to lift them back up in tandem. And then you just have to lift up the headrests and you're set to go. Filling up fuel inside of the Explorer is done just along the driver's side as always. It's an unlocked cover and it's got a capless system, but that system as always has anti-siphon technology built in. Minimum manufacturer's recommendation inside of the Explorer lineup, regardless of the engine, is just regular 87 gas. So regular octane is technically all you need to use. But having said that, the horsepower and torque specs we were looking at under the hood are all achieved using a premium fuel. So, do you need to use premium? No, but if you want the best possible performance, 91 octane at a minimum. Like realistically though, inside of the regular 2.3 liter, you're fine just using regular 87. But inside of the ST, you're absolutely going to notice a difference in performance when you use a 91 or higher. And if you want more power, you can Whipple tune this bad boy as well in order to kick it up quite a little bit. We've got the side view mirrors and the Explorer featured turn signals. There's the blind spot monitoring system. And then there's also a side mounted camera in some trim levels of the vehicle. The door, you do have the option for intelligent access. You can push there to lock the door. Slide your hands in order to unlock. Ooh, but before we get inside, you can definitely see the reworked interior here. Look at that highlight. It's great. You're going to find seat memory available, but the buttons here are going to be pretty much standard across the board. So you can adjust your side view mirrors, your windows. There's some door storage. You've got that upgraded Bang & Olufsen sound system, so the speaker there. It's ridiculous. But you've also got a few switches here, and there's a little bit of ambient light that you can make out there, so a little light strip. But you're going to find the ambient light in a few spots of the 2025 model. You can open and close the liftgate, figure out what's going on with your lamps as always. And then you can also turn your fogs on or off, increase or decrease the brightness of the cluster. There's also a power telescoping steering wheel in some trims. These are the thermoplastic rubber trays you're going to find from the factory, and the regular mats are just underneath that. But I always recommend these floor liners because they're just so much easier to just take out and clean off in comparison. This little Ford Performance scuff plate there. And then the seat is going to be power inside of this version. Forwards, backwards, up and down. You can adjust the backrest. 4-way lumbar support with this little button. I'll show you that in a second. But the seating material here is good. There are a few different options. ActiveX seating material, leather lined suede, etc. I love that. Ooh, that ST badge. Nice and subtle this year. I like that. All right, and hopping inside, look at the reworked interior. I'll start up here. I'm going to say it, F-150-esque, 100%. Just the way that interior looks, or the cluster screen, I should say. But that infotainment is beautiful. I'll touch on that in a second. But look at this. Full map in cluster available now. No more just like baby turn-by-turn directions. Full map in cluster, which is amazing. But if you want a full walkthrough, like you want to know how to use the adaptive cruise control system, navigate through the cluster screen or the new infotainment, if the videos are available, you'll find them down in the description of this video. But I love this. The steering wheel in the 25 feels great. The ST badge down there, little flat bottom steering wheel. It's got paddle shifters as always, which I friggin' love. If you've never used paddles before, it's such a great system. You'll find a walkthrough video for that down in the description as well. You can see here, you might be able to, yeah, there you go. You can see lights that are going a little bit crazy. So the 2025 model does have the option for Ford's Blue Cruise system, so full hands-free driving. So those cameras are watching your eyes and where you're looking as you drive. It even works when you've got sunglasses on. That looks good. Ooh. So there's your push button start, and then you've got this. So it's not Ford's Sync 4 system. It's something completely different. It's the Ford OS that's built off of the Android operating system instead. So think of it like a full Android tablet. But there are so many things that you can do with this screen. So there's factory navigation that's powered by Google Maps instead of Ford Maps. You've got all sorts of different options for audio. There's ambient lighting with different color choices that are available as well. You can adjust different things on your seat, including, remember that button I was telling you about? That little guy in here? So that's to toggle your massage chair seats on or off. And then there's multiple levels, multiple types, multiple levels. And it's the same for the driver and for the passenger side. Now that's not standard across the board, but that is so cool. There are a series of different options for settings. The layout inside of this new screen is so good. You've got Google Maps there, Play Store, so you can download apps right onto this vehicle. For audio, as always, you've got AM, FM, Sirius XM available. USB is still available as an option here. Hold on, look at this. Little hideaway tray, and down there, you've got a 12-volt power point, and then 2 USB devices down there as well as 2 USB ports. Of course, I'm always going to get this wrong the first try. Yeah. And the second? Oh, there we go. Perfect. Right. But that's good. We have so many options. You can play games inside of the vehicle as well. So you can download games directly to the device. You can hook up a controller to the device here as well to play games as you go. It's amazing. And then we're going to go USB audio. So there are 3 different speaker choices that you're going to find inside of the 2025 model. So there's either a 6-speaker system, a 10-speaker, or the 14-speaker Bang & Olufsen system instead with speakers all over the place. All right, and we're going to see here. Let's go artists, songs, genres. Let's explore device. All right, so there are video files on this, but it doesn't look like video playback is supported through USB, which is unfortunate, but we still have some options for songs. So I'm going to listen to a few things. And the audio here is just coming out of the microphone, so there's no post-processing done. I would love to try racing at like 250 or 300 kilometers an hour, listening to classical music. I could imagine it'd just be so much fun. Or am I just weird for thinking that? Hold on, I want to do... Okay, hold on. Oh, there we go. All right, so a little bit more of like a rock rap type of a song for you to get the full audio experience here. 14 speaker, right out of the microphone. Hey,
This life could be special if I get rid of the devils. They think that I am a rebel. I think they want me to settle. There's nobody on my level. They think that work is too stressful. I think that work...
The audio inside of this car is so good. So the 6 speaker is okay. The 10 speaker is better. This 14 is unbelievable. Oh, I love it. Now, one other big thing that's changed as well, because this is an Android device, full YouTube playback capabilities. So you can watch full video inside of the screen here while you're parked. Look at this. Gears that way, or you can so good. So the second that you shift out of park, there you go. So you obviously can't watch video while you're driving, but just being able to watch video inside of this car is so cool. So like I said, it's not, it doesn't look like it's USB capable or compatible, I should say, but still having the flexibility to be able to do this, really cool. Last year, there were physical climate control buttons, but this year, all the climate controls are done right through the screen here instead. So you can swipe up in order to adjust this way, link the passenger and the driver's side as well. Off screen, you've got the option for auto seats, but then there's heated and ventilated first row seats. That's obviously going to be for the full first row, not standard, but there's also a heated steering wheel. You can adjust your climate this way. So I know people aren't going to be crazy about having the climate control settings here, but one cool thing, you can hit the voice command prompt to be able to do things like change songs, radio stations. You can navigate using your voice. You can adjust the climate with your voice as well. And actually, curious, close sunshade.
For that, you'll need to sign in with your Google account.
So you'd be able to do it. You just, that's so cool. So you'd be able to do it. It's just that you need to log into your Google account to do it, which means you can open and close that sunshade using your voice instead. It is phenomenal what you can do. Oh, I love it. Yeah, like I said, full walkthrough, if the video is available, will be down in the description of this video. You've got a volume rocker here. There's the auto start stop. There's a P button for parking chime. So the beeping that you get as you get closer to obstacles no longer has the option for park assist, but it does have the option for a full 360 camera. Like it, so you can zoom in to any side if you'd like to. You can go that full 360 view. There's the option for a hitch view, backup view, whatever the case may be instead. So good. There is traction stability control, auto hold, a wireless charge pad there as well. Nice little tray. And then down low, so you've got this little guy as well with a 12-volt power point down there, 2 USB, and then a good amount of storage as well. There's also a few cup holders. You've got your rotary shifter there, so park, reverse, neutral, drive with that dedicated manual mode instead. So you don't have to be in manual mode to use the paddle shifters, but if you want slightly better control, but still really useful. There's an electronic parking brake, and then as always, a series of selectable drive modes. But look at that. Oh, I love these new animations. Hold on, I gotta stop for a second so you can actually see. Spirited on-road driving, so it plays with traction stability control and some of these things. Sport mode holds onto your shift points, but yeah, so slippery and then trail are going to do different things as well. So good. Love the look. A little bit of storage there with a good amount of storage there and a few USB power points in there as well. That groove texture looks good, and that follows all the way across. Little Explorer highlight there. Love that. The red stitching looks solid. It follows nicely with what's going on with the seats. There's a lockable glove box with a good amount of space down there. The visibility is solid. There's an auto-dimming rear view mirror. There's also a panoramic sunroof inside of the ride. It doesn't open up all the way, but most of the way. It's good. It just opens things up so nicely. Sunglasses holder as always. There's a home link system, so if you've got a garage door opener at home, you can program it in. There's also ticket receipt holder, vanity mirror, and then this shoots out to block all of the sun. That might be hitting your face. Yeah, like I said, I think Ford did a phenomenal job on the redesign of the interior. I was just waiting for it to happen, so I'm glad it's happened, and I love that that's the next generation screen instead, and it works so well. All right, second row. First thing to point out, obviously, you've got some sunshades available as an option there. The same highlight that you saw along the driver's door follows through. There's a little bottle holder down there as well. And then, Coming inside. All right, so you've got pockets behind both the passenger, or the driver, I should say, and the passenger side, but spacing-wise is actually pretty good. So with the driver's seat set up for myself being 6 feet tall, inside of the second row, I've got a good amount of knee space, foot space, and head space. With me sitting fully upright is a little tight, maybe an inch of space, but there's a lever along the side. So this one, in order to fold the seat flat, you can also give yourself a very slight recline, but that opens it up. So like 6'4", you'll probably be able to sit inside of the second row seats. There are 2 different options that are available here too. So it's either going to be this dual captain's chair setup. There's also a bench configuration instead. So that's the difference between 6 seats. So it's always going to have 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and then it's either 2 or 3 in the middle. That's going to be a matter of preference. There are benefits and downsides each way. Moving down, something that's new, you've got this little Explorer highlight. Basic controls for your second and third row climate. There's heated outboard seats for the second row, strictly the outboard. So if you had the bench, that bench seat would never be heated. There are 2 USB Type-C ports, a regular wall plug back there, and then a few cup holders as well. And these are the thermoplastic rubber trays you'll find right from the factory. You can go WeatherTech as well if you wanted a different option. And there you've got little hook, a light, and HVAC control, and that's the same thing along this side. So handle, hook, etc. Assist handle there. Good. Now, getting into the third row can be done a few different ways. Obviously, with the dual captain's chairs, you could shimmy your way into the back. With the bench set up, the only option, grabbing this. Oh, one thing I forgot to point out, the armrests inside of this configuration, which obviously you're not going to get in the bench. Tether points are there. Anchor points are there as well if you need them. And getting in to the third row. Wow. Straightforward. This is good. Along the side, you've got a few more power points for the third row, some HVAC controls, and then there's also a little light up overhead. Let's move the seat back a little bit. There we go. So it's not quite as far back as it'll go. This one, same thing, but still, with it being realistic for the person in the second row, so being nice to the person in the third, I can actually fit back here. Headspace, a little bit tight. Well, actually not bad. About half an inch roughly of headspace back here as well. But the third row seats, they're not comfortable by any stretch. It's like the forgotten seat in most cars. You could live with it if you had to, but it's not really comfortable by any stretch. But if you need them, anchor points are there. Top tethers behind the third row seats as well. And then getting out of the third row, you could grab this and push forward if you wanted to. But because we've got this pass-through, also easy enough to do. And there's a bar between your legs there. If you wanted to, you could slide the seat forwards or backwards. And that was a quick look at the 2025 Ford Explorer. This unit was sold, so unfortunately I couldn't test drive it, couldn't show off the technology yet. But if the tech walkthrough videos are available, you'll find them down in the description of this video, along with all of the build details and links off to Ford Canada and USA, along with the contact details for Formula Ford, who were nice enough to lend this to me for the afternoon to shoot the video for you guys today. But if you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up, make sure you share it, and until I see you next time, take care. So as configured, this ST I think is in the $72,000 ball price. The US does have the upgrade.